kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pink Shade. It's Mary Payne here. I have got Stevi of 90 Day Fiance, and I'm so excited, Stevi, to meet you, my Mississippi girl.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Stevi, do you have any boob pictures behind you? That's the first question.
Actually, yes, because I'm in my art studio, so I have
Yeah.
quite a few. They're
Okay.
everywhere. Boobs everywhere.
Boobs, boobs, boobs.
Yes.
Okay, now I have a question because we're recording at this time because of your job, but I thought on the show you said your job was like you were teaching English online. So like are you going somewhere for a job or to explain?
So I actually work 3 jobs, so I stay pretty busy.
Wow.
Yeah, so during the day, I work for, like, a screen printing company, and I do,
Okay.
like, social media, networking and stuff, and also sales for them.
Uh-huh.
And then in the afternoons, I paint, and then on the side, I teach English. I don't teach English as much as I used to when I met Maddie. I was doing it, like, all the time, but now
Yeah.
I just do it every once in a while, and I've also written an English book, so I just kind of, like, have been reselling that book and, like, able to utilize that so that I can kinda step away from that a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So your audio is going in and out. I wonder if it's like your hair is on your microphone.
Probably. Let me try to move it.
Okay. Yeah, because that's better
See
when
if
you
that's
move it.
better.
Yeah, that's better because I think it was hitting it. Okay. That's okay. Okay, so 3 jobs because I was like, they said she gets home from work and I was like, no, wait a minute. I'm confused.
Yeah, I work a lot.
Okay, well, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Um, okay, now one of the burning questions is you said in the first episode that you had 2 kids.
I do.
We
Yes.
in the words of Nancy Grace, where are the children? Where are the
My
children?
my children are very well taken care of by me.
Okay.
Yeah, they do stay with me, but you will not see them at all because I am a mama bear, and I've
Okay.
just chosen to kind of keep them out of that, light for now, but when they're ready, they
Okay.
can step out.
Okay, are they little? Are they little bitty
No,
kids?
they're not little. No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All
They're
right, well,
okay.
okay. Well, I know I wasn't worried, but it's funny because
Everyone asks. I get asked, like, every single week after every episode if I have children, "Where are they? Are they stuck in their room?" Like, they're perfectly fine.
Yes.
I just choose not to put them on television. So
Okay. Because when Maddie first came to your house, it looked like it was like 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and I was like, either they're filming there because if she has 2 kids, they gotta be
no, we
somewhere.
just stayed out of their rooms.
Sorry. That happens on this I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to, I just did that.
You're good.
Um, that's the balloons, guys, if you're not watching on video. Okay, all right, well, now listen, you're on this show, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So if you would have never even mentioned the kids and then somebody found out you had kids, they would be like, "She doesn't take care of her children, she never mentions them." You
Absolutely,
know?
yeah. I think
So,
moms get it either way, no matter what they do. But again, this is just a choice that I've made and I stand by that. So, like,
yeah.
no apologies there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. I think, you see it sometimes on TV, the kids are shown and they don't wanna be, that's obvious, or,
Yeah.
that then they act like little jerks. I mean, I've got kids, so I know, they might act like jerks, or if you see something like The Baldwins, which is a show I'm covering, they've got so many kids that we can't even figure out what their names are because there's so many.
Yeah, no, my kids
Mm.
are great. I will say, like, my son is just, like, not interested at all. Like, I don't even know that he knows what the show is, nor does he care.
Yeah,
He does rodeos, he's a farmhand, like, he doesn't care. And then
cute.
my daughter obviously keeps in touch with everything, but she respects my wishes as well for right now. So we'll see what happens in the future.
And do the kids like Maddie?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Our
could you
house looks
not?
like Yeah, yeah, absolutely. They met Maddie through, like, video calls. They were
Mhm.
able to talk to him, beforehand as well. So they knew Maddie. Of course, I sheltered them a lot from, like, and especially in the very beginning, because I didn't know, like, what this was.
Right.
Yeah, so they got to know him through the phone, and, my kids are really cool. Like, they just want me to be happy, and as long as I'm happy, they're happy, and yeah, so they're good.
Well, so I'm Southern like you, and so when I first saw Hattiesburg, I got excited because number 1, my sister was born in Hattiesburg. maybe me and my other sister were born in Jackson, but my dad had a job there at the time, and I don't even really know the story. But people are talking about Hattiesburg and like you're bringing this guy from Iran to Hattiesburg. I was like, Hattiesburg is a college town.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool place,
Yeah, definitely. So I will say that if I know you're familiar with Hattiesburg, you know that there are a lot of small towns that reside outside of Hattiesburg. I have lived in all of those small towns.
Okay.
I say, I'm from Hattiesburg. Really, I'm from every town outside of Hattiesburg. But I went to school, like I went to college in Hattiesburg. Hattiesburg is a college town. I do feel like Hattiesburg is a lot more open than some of these like outside residing towns.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so
You'll find that with college towns in general, I think. And Hattiesburg's so close to New Orleans. So Maddie flies into New Orleans, which has got to be, I was like, oh my gosh, she should have taken him through Jackson. There would be no culture shock there. There's nothing to see,
yeah.
just, nothing to see.
It was a lot.
Um, but I was like, oh my gosh, this poor guy is coming from such like a closed in culture that women can't even show their hair. And now we're just got like full nudity on the street. I was like, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I think New Orleans is something that, like, Maddie had always, like, read about and, like, saw videos about and things like that. So, Maddie was actually, like, excited to fly into New Orleans. This is an
Okay.
experience that he wanted to. I didn't just, like, toss him in there. And an interesting fact that a lot of people don't know about me is I actually lived in Louisiana for, like, around 5 or 6 years before I moved back to Mississippi again. So, it's something that, like, I had conversations with Maddie about, like, Louisiana. He knew about Louisiana. Of course, being there is totally different. But yeah, definitely a culture shock. I really enjoyed, like, watching him because it was like, it was just really cool to, like, see it through, like, watch him, like, look at everything. So
I know, and we see that a lot on the show, and even in the opposite direction when we do 90 Day the Other Way, you see the Americans over there and have to get used to a different way of life in a different
yeah,
country, like where the hot water is. And a lot of these countries seem like they have shower rooms. It's like the toilet, the sink, the shower. It's all just one room, and you just like
right.
a wet room. And it's a lot of things like that. And it's a lot of talk on the show about bidets. People are like
Yes.
the foreigners are always interested in the bidets and don't
I had a
understand why.
bidet installed before he arrived
Good,
because I knew
see?
that would be an issue.
You're smart. A lot of people don't, and then they're like, "What are we gonna do?" Um, okay, now that brings me to, is he religious at all?
I always say that that's a question that Maddie has to answer. I don't like to answer any questions regarding religion when it comes to Maddie. But I will say that Maddie came from a very religious family.
Mhm.
So he came from a very religious family, but I would say that Maddie is a lot more open minded, and definitely has like his own core values and beliefs. And they don't necessarily align with like what his family believes. That's all I
Yeah.
can say
Well,
about that.
I think you could tell that on the show. I mean, I think the conversation this week, at the gym was interesting because he was trying to, like, look everywhere but at a girl,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
in a lot of ways is like, "Hey, every guy should be like that. Don't look at me. I'm at the gym," you know? It's respectful. But it was also interesting about, when you were drinking wine, and we'd seen it on the preview, and I said, "Okay, well, obviously, he wouldn't be drinking wine or drinking it on camera if he felt, it was against his values or if he felt it would be seen negatively as, like, so obviously we see a lot of guys on these shows say, "I'm never
Absolutely.
gonna try to change you," and then they do, you know?
Yeah. This is something that I definitely knew about Maddie prior to, like, him coming here. We had a lot of these discussions about who I was as a person, and, I knew he came from a very religious family, so I wanted to know the depth of that and what that meant to
Mhm.
him, and, yeah, Maddie, I would say a lot of people like to paint Maddie as being, like, so extremely innocent, but just because Maddie lived in Iran and says, like, the government restricted this did not mean that he didn't participate in all of it. So so I think people forget that and they think like I'm sabotaging him or something sometimes, but like, he's definitely not as innocent as people think. So like, I'm
That's funny.
definitely not sabotaging him in any way. Like, I can't tell you the amount of people that are like, you snuck pork in him on with marshmallows or something. I'm like, one, I didn't even know that marshmallows had pork, but two, no one forced it down his throat. And Maddie has tried all of the food since being here. I think it was more about like when you move to a new environment and like you try things, it can like literally make you sick, like
Yeah.
physically sick. And we were dealing with that in the very beginning. So we just kind of like I was like, "Whatever you're comfortable doing," you know?
Yeah, yeah, you don't want somebody to force you to eat something, and we see a lot on the show, people, like, kind of refusing to try other foods and doing it rudely, and,
Yeah.
with the marshmallows have pork? I didn't that's
I
news
had
to
no
me as
idea, but
well.
apparently it's a really big deal. So so, I don't know, but it's so funny to me because, we talked to you mentioned, is Maddie super religious? Like, a lot of the values that you see Maddie talk about, he says, "My mother raised me this way," or "My mother taught me this."
Right.
So these are things that are unfamiliar to him, but it's not because he doesn't wanna try it or he thinks it's bad to try it. It's just that it's unfamiliar to him. So, like, if Maddie wants to try pork, I'm by no means gonna say, "Don't eat that." Like,
Yeah,
it's
right.
bad, So, yeah, he makes his own decisions.
Well,
So
yes, right, right, right. Okay, now tell me explain to me the story of how you met Maddie and then how you guys, like, found out about the show and decided to do it because I know all that's, like, a big process.
Yeah, so obviously I was Maddie's teacher. I was teaching him conversational English, so he was literally on a platform where he just wanted to talk to Americans, so it wasn't like I was teaching him formal English. So we
'Cause
were just
his
like
English is perfect.
perfect, like, he
Yes.
doesn't need me to
Yeah.
he did it so that he could expand things like slang and, like, terms that, he may not learn from just a book that he gets in Iran.
Mhm.
So, I mean, at the start of it, we were just having conversational English classes, and I was strictly business, like, I did not talk to anyone outside of this platform, but, long story short, Maddie, obviously, because of restrictions, was not able to use the platform anymore. We kind of lost contact, and somehow he managed to like send me this like funny clip or something, I think it was, and it had like baby Yoda in it, and I was so unfamiliar with Instagram because I didn't use it at the time that like I clicked it, opened it, and didn't even realize it was his page
Mhm.
until like days later. And then when I saw his profile, it was just like shirtless pictures and like tons of females, and I was like, oh, like I was so not into this. Like I was like, why would he even send me to this page? But then he was persistent and he kept having conversations with me, and we just got to know one another. And it's crazy because I used to talk to Maddie about like girls he would go out with and stuff like that. And but a friendship developed, and then from that friendship, he got to know me on a personal level, and I got to know him, and I just completely uh, fell in love with him. But I really was like, do I love this person through the phone, or like, how do I actually feel? So,
Yeah.
going to Turkey really like solidified that for me because the person that I knew that I had talked to every single day for like a year was exactly who he was in person.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it just that was different. But about this show, it's really funny because Maddie actually has a pretty large social platform for English, and I grew one as well. And now the followers there are primarily from other countries, so they're not like from the US. And it was funny because we weren't even familiar with 90 Day Fiance, and our students, we were not in a relationship at all, but we were making content together, like educational videos.
Okay.
And our students were like tagging like at 90 Day Fiance, and like you guys would be cute on 90 days, and all of this stuff. And it was kind of like a joke. Like I was like, what is this? Like, we're not even together. This is before the feelings developed. And then
Yeah.
after feelings developed and after all this happened, we joked around about it, and then it just became our reality. So that's really where that started. And I know a lot of people like to say like I didn't watch the show before I was on it, but like we genuinely didn't know a whole lot about the show until we were too advanced in it. But so
Wow.
yeah, it's interesting, but um yeah, and I will say all of those conversations, one of the things that didn't get brought up, which is kind of comical, was our age because in the beginning we were just friends and we were like talking about life and talking about things. And I knew Maddie was younger, but I honestly thought he was probably in his late 20s, maybe. But I will say by the time we found out each other's age, it was too late. So we were both in shock.
But
And we really
what
didn't
remind
care.
me what the age difference is because I know,
I
like
think it's like 10 or 11. We have a 10
okay.
or 11-year age gap, but neither one of us, like, genuinely realized that we knew that we had a gap, but we just didn't realize the gap was that large. And it's funny because nobody, like, that followed our English pages ever commented on our age difference. Like, even when they first announced us on the show, no one commented on our age. But then the minute that like number goes up beside us,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
became like super controversial. But it is what it is.
But it's not crazy to be 10 years difference, but, like, what is crazy, we've got, Mark and Mina have a big difference, but, I mean, Sean and Aaliyah are, like, 62 and 25, like, that now that's nuts.
Well,
That is
I'll just
crazy.
say, like, I really I used to probably would have been in total shock about it, but, like, I'll be the first to admit that I don't act my age, I act like a child. I'll be the first to admit that, and Maddie is way more mature than me, so he acts like an old man, so I think we balance each other out, so it's fine.
That is funny. Well, yeah, I the age thing has not even occurred to me with you guys. It hasn't
But
occurred
no.
to me at all. Yeah, no, 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 it hasn't because you guys seem like the same age. Now, I'd like to go back to something you said. You
Mhm.
said that you were talking to him about girls that he's dating. So he's allowed you mean in our mind, like he wouldn't be allowed to date in Iran. It would just be like you whoever you're with is who you're marrying, kind of a
So
culture.
that's the misconception that I'm saying is like, obviously, when Maddie is talking about Iran, he's talking about the Iranian government. He's talking
Mhm.
about the restrictions and the laws that they have and the punishments that can occur if you do these things. But that doesn't mean that people don't do them. Like, they
Yeah.
still do them. And yeah, Maddie definitely dated people and went out with people. Now, of course, you have to be very careful when you're doing that in a country where the government, has so many restrictions. But um, he did all those things.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
because it does make it seem on the show that he's very sweet and innocent, and he is so, soft-spoken and his voice is so calming, I
he
think,
is,
and I
but
think
he's
that's
not
it.
innocent. He's not.
That is so funny. Now, let's talk about your dad, okay, like, your dad, I recognize, is very similar to my dad, would I mean, my
Good
but
old
y
Southern boy.
is a good old Southern guy, my dad grew up in the Delta,
Yeah.
is your dad doing okay these days?
Yeah, my dad's doing good. I mean, we take it day by day. Right now, he's doing really well. Like, he's been exercising and trying to do the things he can do to, prolong things as long as possible. But dad doesn't really like to even talk about what he's dealing with that much because he just wants to keep pushing forward.
Yeah,
So we just try not to live in it. I think the times that it's hardest for me is when I do talk about it, because when I'm not talking about it, it doesn't feel like reality almost.
yeah, yeah,
Because we just live. So,
yeah.
but he's doing good. He's doing good. He does have like a little bit more difficulty doing things that he used to could do, but he's doing great. Yeah, he has a really good sense of humor about all of this as well. So that's good.
When your dad was saying, and he said it twice, "Is he gonna make you wear a jihad?" And nobody corrected him to say it's hijab. I was like, "Oh, no," and then he said it twice. I was like, it's a
Well,
that would
in
it
my
is
defense,
it is a
in
word
my
that can be
defense,
confused, but I was like, "Oh my gosh."
he was definitely corrected. Nobody
Uh,
saw that. But he knows the difference now. And the funny part is like, I think Maddie found that laughable. It was laughable. Maybe not to everyone, but he definitely knows now. So he,
So
he can
funny.
he can correct it now, but I can't promise that he will. He might still say it wrong by accident. So
It was funny, and then your stepmom seemed very sweet and supportive, and, we were watching people like, "That's a lot of food for, like, 4 people." I go, "Let me guarantee you this, they have all that food out because 'cause they're probably like, 'We're gonna feed the crew, we're gonna feed all the people that are here.'" I was like,
absolutely.
"They're not gonna have all these people come over and not feed them, that would be rude."
So, yeah, so, this is my dad's girlfriend. She's super nice,
Okay,
super
girlfriend, yes.
wonderful. It's fine. She's like stepmom.
Yeah,
She,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she, is the hostess with the mostest. So, I would like to say that it was just because she had a lot of people over, which she will always feed anyone at her home. That's very Southern thing to do,
Yeah,
but she is like that every time I've been at her home.
okay.
And also one thing that I wish people could see was that she does make dishes designated for like certain people. So, she has pork there, but then she has other meat that she knows that Maddie might eat. And same for me, like I have gluten restrictions and she always cooks like separate dishes just for me.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
nice.
she definitely has a Southern hospitality. I think she was most cringe because she always uses really fancy dishes when people come over. But on the show we use paper plates, so that was hard for us to watch. But
She was
yeah,
upset. That wasn't her usual. Yeah.
it wasn't her usual. It's my usual. I use
Yeah,
paper
me too.
plates.
Me too. Me too. Um, okay, and then so at the beginning, you also said that your mom and your sister knew about Maddie, but you hadn't told your dad. Are we
Yeah.
gonna see your mom and your sister or sisters on the show?
You will not see my mom. My mom just prefers not to be on camera. She's wonderful. She is supportive of me and whatever decisions I make.
Yeah.
And you might see some of my sisters. I don't
Okay.
know.
Does does everybody live in Hattiesburg?
No, we're kind of all scattered. So my sisters do live in Hattiesburg. I actually have a lot of siblings, but my sisters live in Hattiesburg, and my mother lives out of town, and my obviously my dad lives in Hattiesburg as well.
Okay.
So
Okay. How many siblings do you have?
well, we don't say half in my family.
Okay.
So I have 3 sisters and 3 brothers, but I only talk to I have 3 sisters that I talk to frequently and 1
Mhm.
brother that I talk to frequently, which I think you guys saw him at the table. So,
Oh, yeah, yeah, we did. Now that yeah, that's right, that's right, that's right.
yeah.
And he seemed, supportive. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff for the cameras, they're trying to be like, well, but at the same time, you're like, it seemed like everybody was being nice. Nobody was being weird or they tried to build it up like it's gonna be like this big thing. But I was like, everybody seemed pretty welcoming.
Well, I'll be honest, I really didn't know how my dad would react. Like I was a bit hyperventilating a little bit when I knew I was gonna go tell my dad this because I didn't know what his reaction would be. So,
Yeah.
I think the hype was warranted because I was scared, but but he handled things well considering I threw it on him at the last minute. So,
And why did you do that? Why did you throw it on him at the last minute?
um, okay. I don't really have an answer for that other
Okay.
than I have always been one to kind of like keep whatever I'm doing to like this is not a big surprise for my family, the fact that I wait till the last minute for everything. I mean, even
Mhm.
when I went to Turkey, I told them I was going like for work and that I told them, I think I told my dad 2 days before I left, like on the Sunday before I left for Turkey, like, hey, I'm flying to Turkey, like across the world, because I knew he wouldn't be okay with it. So it was kind of like one of those things. It's like, I'm going to do it anyway. So I might as
Yeah.
well wait till the last minute. Which is
Oh my
not
gosh.
always good, but I'm guilty of that. So I did that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
when we saw him and you were like, "So, dad, let me just tell you," he's like, "Huh? What?"
yeah.
Yeah, my dad would've killed me. My dad would've killed me.
Well, I
My dad,
mean,
you know what?
thankfully there were other people there, so maybe
Yeah,
that's why he didn't kill me.
yeah. He was just like be like he would not be surprised if I did something like that, I'll put it that way. He would be like, "If anybody's gonna do it, it would be you. You would be the
Yeah.
one," you know? Now, as far as Maddie's family goes, have you met them? Because you said he met your kids, so have you met, like, his parents or anything on Zoom? Have you had a chance to do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes. So I have been talking to Maddie's family for years now. I do talk to them through the phone. I have to use translation
yeah, of
because
course.
they don't speak English, or I have to have someone translate for me. But this is something that I've been doing I mean, for forever. It feels
Mhm,
like since I've known them. I like again. It started out as we were kind of like I was helping him with English, and then we were kind of like colleagues, like working together. So they knew me through that. And
mhm,
then after that, when feelings developed, Maddie actually, I think, told them before I was like ready for him to tell them. He was just
mhm.
kind of like, I love this person.
Aw,
So I was just like, I don't know what to do with that. And I didn't know how they would react because I told you they are really religious. But all I can say about his family is they are so kind and so gracious and so loving and so supportive. And um like they take me as I am. Obviously, I'm sure there's some things that they would prefer that I do differently, but
mhm.
they have shown me nothing but love. So I only have great things to say about his family, for sure.
How many siblings does he have?
He has one. He has a sister.
And
Yeah,
is she still in Iran?
she is. Yes.
She is, okay. Well, I was sad this week when he said, that when he talks to them, he feels, really sad when he gets off the phone. She's like, "Yeah," and you're not she, you. I was like, when I get home, I can tell that you've talked to them
Hmm.
because 'cause you're sad." And I understood what you were saying. You were saying, like, you maybe just don't call them every single day because then every single day you're
Yeah.
sad, and also you live here now, so maybe you have to get a little more used to, um not talking to them every day, but and I understood your point, but he was like, "You don't want me to talk to them every day?" I was like,
Oh, I
"Oh, this is
know. It
sticky."
was hard to watch, and I did get a lot of backlash about that, but I think what people are missing is that, I've never told Maddie to not talk to his family.
Of
It
course,
was more
yeah,
about moderation. In fact, I encouraged him to make phone calls to his family, but when you call someone from, like, early in the morning till late in the evening and they're, like, crying constantly, it does something to your mental health, and so, I think sometimes we don't know what's best for us. So I had really good intentions when I said that. I'm sure it
yeah,
didn't come out that way. But I would never tell Maddie to not talk to his family, but I definitely was encouraging him during that time, maybe to like speak to them a little less because I think they were having trouble like processing their own emotions. So
yeah,
it was just kind of like a volcano. And so it was just really hard. Like when you go to work and you come home and the person you love is hurting, it's hard. And I totally get it. And I don't want to seem like I'm not sensitive to that because I was. But it was also really hard for me mentally to see that. So it was just more about trying to figure out how to manage that the best way possible, and that was what I was trying to do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I got it because I feel like your point was valid. It's like you're kind of like it's hard for them and it's hard for you, but you're making it worse by continuing.
Yeah,
I do
and, like, if he did, like, like, lower the amount of contact and, like, things were worse, obviously, I would be like, "Call them more," you
yeah,
know? But but it
yeah.
was just trying to navigate it. This is something that I had never dealt with before, and a lot of people watching this show have not dealt with it or will ever deal with it. So I think we all, process things differently. So
Yeah, and is there a chance that, because I know once you're in the United States on a green card, like, until you get your something, some kind of paper, then you can travel, but it's a long time before even if he wanted to go back, it's a long time before he could go
correct, yeah.
back, and is there a possibility if and when that time comes, he could meet them in Turkey? Like,
Yeah.
or he could?
Yes, he could definitely meet them in Turkey. The thing about that is his family has to be willing to go to Turkey. And you have to keep in mind that his family is very I don't know how to say that. Like they love where they're from and so it's hard for them also to just be able to travel because this may be something that they're not familiar with. So
Right, yeah.
so definitely it is something that he could do and
It's just
yeah.
getting them there would be maybe yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting as we had a last season or a couple seasons ago, we had, Adnan and Tiger Lily, and they would go same thing when things were not great in Jordan where he is from, they would meet in Turkey a lot, but then they had his family come over to Turkey, um,
Mhm.
and meet with her as well, and so, yeah, I think
It's the capital of 90 Day Fiance.
and you could get hair plugs, you could get some new lips,
Everything.
you could do it all. You're like, "While I'm here, let me just get some Botox,"
That's right.
I'm like, "What?" It's so funny. Do you ever see those memes of people that are, like, in the, airport in Istanbul, and it's all these guys with their heads wrapped up because they've come to and they've all gotten,
I've been on a
hair
plane
plugs?
with a whole plane of them. Like, I am not kidding you. When I came back from Turkey, the whole entire plane was like scabs all over. It's okay. Props
No.
to them. Props to them.
That is crazy. Well, you know what? If you gotta get it done, you gotta get it done, and I guess
Yeah.
we've seen a whole spinoff of Darcy and Stacey on TLC went to Turkey and got head to toe. They did it all. They got the teeth, they got everything.
Good for them.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I'm telling you. Well, next time you not if you go to see his family, they probably wouldn't want you to spend your time doing that. Um, okay, then the last thing I wanna ask you before we go is this week And he had said it last week too, that he was, concerned that you drawing female bodies meant you were bisexual. Now, my sister is an artist, and, I've seen her nudes and stuff, and this doesn't mean she's bisexual. It doesn't mean she's not, but it doesn't mean she is. So I was kinda wondering if this was although now you're saying he's not as innocent as we think, if this was a cultural thing where he's like, "If you're drawing nudes, then you must be gay," or if he really is thinking that, or if you are like, "Hey, in my life, I have been bisexual, and just in our country, it's not maybe such a big deal, or we don't just really talk about it because I'm with you." So tell me about that and how it came up, and because I thought you had a pretty good answer, but then the producer was like, "Why don't you just definitively say no?" You're like, "I don't have to say shit," you know?
Yeah, and I really think people didn't like that answer, but I
Yeah.
stand by that. So
Yeah.
the thing is like, I don't think that Maddie has problem with anybody's like sexuality. First of all,
Mhm.
I'll say that like he's friends with everybody, he doesn't care. I think it was really more about like me. He wanted to know about me because obviously he's wanting to be in a relationship with me, so he wants these answers. For me, though, I thought it was a bit weird to ask me about my sexuality, especially like in the gym at a public setting. Like,
Yeah.
you're asking me this. And also, let me be very honest with you. And I've been like this my whole entire life with every person that I'm with. I think questions about sexuality are weird. Okay. That's my personal opinion. I feel like everyone wants to be the first to be like, don't out somebody, don't make them do this. But then they'll be the first ones to be like, say what you are, like
Yeah.
I don't get it. Um, so for me, when someone starts like questioning sexuality, my reasoning is like, why? Like, if I was to say, yeah, I'm like 100% straight, like, are you concerned that I'm gonna go cheat on you with a guy? So
Right.
for me, it was more like, I've chosen you. You're the person that I'm with. So like, I'm loyal to you. So why does this matter? And also, it was more about like, if you want to have this conversation with me, this probably isn't the place. My eyes got like this big, and
Mhm.
when he asked, I was like, this is weird. I kind of laughed at myself when I said that because to me, it was weird. We were having a full, like a different conversation, and then it switched over to my sexuality. So I was like, I don't get this. And also, it was about like, I don't get how you're putting my like artwork with my sexuality, and that's a bit offensive to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I see everyone's perspective. I know that I could have taken the easy route out, but for me, it was like, why are you questioning my loyalty to you? And I'm not giving that to you because I think that's a strange question. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I stand by that. And also, I think that for me, I connect with people's souls. Like, I don't even think that I sexualize people that much. So, like, I don't like these types of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you answered it well, and I think it was just sort of like I think you're like you said, "I'm not gonna give you the answer that you want, so forget it." And I kind of read into that as just as a viewer is like, I'm not having this conversation with you that's about a very private situation on camera at the gym,
Or
like
just at the gym, like, even if
yes.
the cameras aren't present, like, I'm no. But I can't say what might happen later, but I will say that, I'm very strong-willed, and you're gonna see that, like, throughout the rest of this. So, again, people say, like, "How could you keep this from your dad until the last minute? How could you, like, do this? How could you keep this a secret? Why are you so secretive? Why are you gaslighting?" Um, I'm a private person. I don't have all the answers for you as to why I am the way that I am, but,
Yeah.
I am. So, that's who
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think that you've done a good job on social media of, addressing the questions and stuff, and that you're funny about it and self-deprecating about it or whatever, and that's sort of what we need from our 90-day stars. We need people to not take themselves so seriously and fight with people on social media and stuff, because then that just makes the trolls
there's
jump in
really
and
no
wanna fight
reason.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, we all have opinions. I'm fully aware that not everyone is gonna be supportive of me or like my opinions, but it's also not gonna change my opinion. So
Mhm.
I think that's where I'm a little strong-willed sometimes, but I'm that way in my own life with the people that I love and the people that know me is like, if I'm a certain way, then I am. So you just like
Yeah.
fully accept it or you don't. And maybe that's a southern thing. Like I'm so strong-willed, but I am. So
I think that we've seen on wherever, social media or Reddit or somewhere, that Maddie is he doing personal training now and teaching English, or you can't
Yeah, he does
say, or
both.
he does
He
both?
did both in his in his home country.
Mhm.
He did personal training and all, and then he, that was his goal when he got here. That's what he wanted to do. So that's what he does.
Yeah, and, Sarper came over from Turkey, and now he's personal training in LA. I have, so Sarper posted something about a class he was doing, and so many of my listeners like, "I'm going to this class." I was like,
Yeah, like, I
"Okay."
actually saw those posts and I was like, it's so I think that that's great for people because he has such a sense of humor and then, incorporates that with fitness, and that's wonderful, and I think, him and Maddie both have, totally different ways that they do their job, and, they're
Yeah.
both good at it, so power to
Maddie
them.
well, Maddie seems very, again, he seems very serious and he seems very soft-spoken, but it was funny when he got the bad, beard cut,
Oh my god. That
and
was
then
the worst.
and you came back to the house, and I was like, "She is drawing on him with a magic marker."
I didn't want to do that. That's what people fail to see. I did not he would not go anywhere if I didn't do it. He was done with life
And you're like, "Don't you
until
think
his
people are
mustache
gonna
was
notice you have magic marker on your face?"
I tried to tell him.
That is so funny. I was like, "Gosh, she doesn't have, like, a little eyebrow pencil or something she could." Mm.
It was an eyebrow pencil, that's what it was.
It looks
It
like a
just
magic
looks like a
marker.
marker, but it's an eyebrow it's, literally an eyebrow thing. That's what it is. That's what I used on his face.
It was funny though, because you were like, "Honestly, that was a bad hairstyle." Yeah,
It was.
it
It was
was.
so bad. It was so funny though because he kept saying that it looks like he's frowning, and he was like, "I look like this. I look like this," everywhere we went, and I was like, "Please stop making that face," because I would laugh, and then he's like, "Why are you laughing? Like, it's not funny."
It's not funny, it's not funny.
But it's funny, and then we also had that very serious conversation, and he's like, got this marker thing on
Painted
his
all
face.
over his face. Yes, that's so funny,
Yeah,
that's so
it's
funny.
funny in hindsight, when I watch it, but at the moment, it wasn't funny.
And you're like, "We have to go to the coffee shop because 'cause we're filming there, like, we have to go."
We
And
have
he's
to
like,
live. We have to
uh,
leave our house, yeah,
"We
and
have
also,
to."
let me just say, he was persistent about going to this barbershop by himself, so he was on his own,
Yep.
so he has to take responsibility for that. So
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so happy to talk to you. When you came on my screen, I was so excited. And then this week, also on the show, Mark and Mina are on the show, and they had gone to Bald Head Island in North Carolina, where we go for the beach. And I was like,
yeah,
I've got 2 things on my show at once. I'm so excited. We got
yeah.
Mississippi and Bald Head Island. So that was exciting. Now, also people have asked me where they can buy your art. And I think you have like an Instagram for your art and an Instagram for yourself. So tell people about that if they're interested in it.
Yeah, so I like to keep my art separate from that because I know not everybody's into it, and that's
Yeah.
fine. My art is just stevienicole.com, just my name.
Okay. That's a
Yeah,
website, stevienicole.com.
stevienicole.com, yeah,
Okay.
and you can find the same, anywhere on any of my socials, it's Stevie Nicole Art, I think, but,
Mhm.
my website's just stevienicole.com, and my name is spelled with an H. My mom spelled it a little weird, but I was
Where'd
named
you,
after Stevie Nicks, so that's
okay, I
why
was going
it's
to ask
Stevie
you where the
Nicole.
Stevie came from.
Yeah, it's Stevie dash Nicole is my first name, so,
Okay. No, I get it.
it's Stevie
Mary
Nicks.
Payne. Yeah. I get it, I get it. I was like, nobody'll have to explain to Stevie that my name is Mary Payne. She'll just get it because she's from the South. She'll get it. She won't call me Mary. She'll understand. Okay, we're done. Don't hang up. And thank you again. And I'll link your website in my show notes, but don't hang up.
Thank you so much, it was so nice to meet you, you're so nice.
Thank you.